So, hello everyone. Myself, Rajesh from Silent Infotech, here accompanied by one of my colleagues, Jignesh, and we are going to present the payment acquirer for the cryptocurrency acceptance into the Odoo e-commerce. So, uh, going forward with my so in this particular session, we are going to brief you about the basic introduction, or you can say an overview on to the cryptocurrency, how it is managed, and the payment acceptance workflow for the e-commerce, and the basic configurations that are needed, and a workflow demonstration of the same. So am I audible enough? Okay. So, cryptocurrency. So basically, cryptocurrency, how many of you have already have a basic understanding of a cryptocurrency? Oh, that's great. So basically, it's the virtual currency which is electronically maintained, and the existence of this valuation is maintained by the special techniques and mechanism of distributed ledger technology, which we call blockchain. And what happens over here is it's the record keeping mechanism which is holding the valuation against the account, and the copies of the valuation records are maintained in a distributed ledger among the participating nodes of that particular blockchain network. So if we want to visualize, it would be this kind of a mimicking the different nodes which are participating into any particular blockchain network. And when we say node, these are the special kind of programs, or we can say peer programs, which have the capability to communicate with each other to remain synchronized and keep their ledgers or the records of value documentation against the account in a synchronized manner. And comparing it with the traditional record keeping, where we have some centralized information system for the fiat currencies, which maintains the records of the value holdings for each personal accounts. And over here, the values are maintained or distributed among the many participating peers, as I said, among the blockchain network. And onto the ownership part of the fiat currency, the information systems utilized by the banking applications maintain the ownership based on the identity documents, and the transactions are verified using the signatures or the authorized logons. While over here, the ownership of onto the cryptocurrency blockchain are maintained or authorized using the private keys of the person holding that particular wallet account. Okay. So we can imagine this cryptocurrency currency blockchain network as the jointly acting as the distributed trusted information system, and among them, each of the nodes who are maintaining the ledger are the synchronized copy of the similar records. There is one more concept I would just like to highlight is the wallet. You can consider wallet as the trusted program, which has an ability to interact with the blockchain node to put in the transactional action, or to invoke any kind of the value change or transfer among the blockchain network. So that is something in form of the desktop application or a mobile application, or it can be a simple browser add-on in some way. So all it does is it initiates some change onto the blockchain using, and the change is transmitted to one of the blockchain node, and from there it gets spreaded among the whole network. And once the change is accepted by a majority of nodes, it is documented into their records, and we say that the transaction has been confirmed. And each such transaction initiated by the wallet are cryptographically signed using the user's private keys. So going further with the payment processing into the e-commerce, we have the key three components. One of them is e-commerce server. We can see as an Odoo e-commerce over there. And there is a blockchain, cryptocurrency blockchain network. And the customer using or interacting with the e-commerce using via their web browser. So the process will involve the cart interaction as usual e-commerce, and the orders will compute the total payable amount, and the instructions upon the cart checkout about the total payable and the merchant wallet address where the amount needs to be transferred. And the transaction would be initiated using the wallet to that pre-decided merchant account, and in this process, customer will provide an extra information as a part of their order booking. Is their source or their personal wallet address that I'm going to pay this particular order from this source account, and we'll be utilizing the same information, the tuple where we have the three fields over here: the source account of the customer, the destination merchant account, and the amount that needs to be transferred. And the next thing, once the payment of that particular order, which is put into draft, since the order has been accepted for the payment by the customer, the payment has been done by the customer in the third step. And once that payment has been registered onto the cryptocurrency blockchain network, it gets synchronized by the e-commerce server, transaction by transaction, and the algorithm matches the appropriate transaction that needs to be matched with the booked order onto the e-commerce, and it will auto-confirm the order onto the e-commerce, and the user gets the notification in an asynchronous way. So over here, we do not need any processing party to pay to process our payments. And yes, to be more specific, the synchronizations of the transactions are a periodic action that initiated by the e-commerce server to the respective cryptocurrency blockchain network. And upon getting the actual match of the required payable amount for that order, the order gets auto-confirmed, and the rest of the payment flow of Odoo works as in normal. So the things or the configuration that are needed into the acquirer or the payment module would be the merchant wallet address that any e-commerce owner who is using Odoo e-commerce, and if we want to put, say for example, we have considered the Ethereum as in payment currency, and as well as BTC and the NEO. And So if I'm configuring my e-commerce module for uh, accepting ETH as an payable currency on my e-commerce, then I'll need to create one merchant. In a normal way, I will say that I need to create one wallet, and I'll configure my address of my wallet as a merchant onto the acquirer into the Odoo backend. And while processing the card, the customer will provide their source address. So I'll cover that part while I'll demonstrate the workflow. So yes, so this was the screen where we need to configure the wallet address of any merchant. And that doesn't need any sign up, because most of the cryptocurrency just needs the wallet to be downloaded, and the account creation doesn't need any central party authorization because of the algorithmic. Every address generated by any wallet is itself a unique address. So I'll go forward with the demonstration. So currently, I've configured two cryptocurrency, BTC and ETH, and this is the demo products of Odoo e-commerce, where we can see the different pricings, and I'll try to uh, check out by selecting one of the product. So as a usual, I'll add it to the cart, and it will show me the price as per the configured the exchange rates, and the exchange rate over there gets periodically synchronized using the well-known APIs like the Coinbase API, and currently we have done it daily, one update daily. It's not the instant update of every second. So, but that is something which can be achieved out if there is a need of that kind of requirement. And based on that, it will show the pricing on the product. And okay. So over here, it will ask for the pay with options. So if I have checked out with the BTC, it would have asked me to choose the address of, so over here it says the ETH wallet address from which the payment will be made by the customer. So I'll be using the uh, the browser add-on, the wallet which I'm having in my browser as an add-on. So that's uh, I'll give you the brief introduction of that as well. So it's the MetaMask wallet which I'm using for the Ethereum account, and for this demonstration we are utilizing the Ethereum testnet for the transactions. So once I'll confirm to that order will go into the payable and drafted mode, but it's not yet confirmed, and it's waiting for the customer to pay that particular amount, and so it provides the instructions where to pay and how much to pay. So for ETH, as I am already having my wallet enabled, it will ask me to pay using that add-on. So actually, I'm having a little trouble seeing that. Okay, so it's currently connected to the some one of the test networks. So the ethers I'm spending is on the test network currently. Oh, Not able to hear? Okay. So the wallet that I'm currently using is the Ethereum test network, and the wallet is the MetaMask wallet, which I'm using. And as I said that it's already unlocked into my browser, so it will the screen is asking me to pay using the MetaMask. So let me go and pay it. So let me increase the case amount. So this is basically the fuel of the cryptocurrency networks. And you can say this is the transaction charge. And I'm increasing a little bit to get it confirmed in a little more speed in a demonstration. So I've submitted the payment, and I can see the progress directly onto the scanner networks of that transferred amount, which is from my source address to the merchant address. And the transaction will get confirmed. It usually takes a minute on a main network, and it gets a little more speedier on the test network. So by the time I'll try to demonstrate what we will see in the backend as an order. Sorry. So it's the order number SO072, and we can see that order. Sorry, that was 72, and by the time I was clicking, it gets confirmed, so it has moved into the confirmed order. So over there, we'll be documenting the required transactions, which says 0.21 ETH, and the address that needs to be transferring that amount. And as the order gets confirmed, it will auto-generate the invoices and register the payment against the same. So if you will take a look, I'll try to reload this screen. It will say that your payment has been successfully processed, and so that was it as a part of the basic workflow of the working, and as a part of the configurations. So the configuration of the wallet address that are pre-configured for the merchant's wallet address that needs to be watched upon for getting the upcoming transactions. Oh, sorry. So that's the wallet address of the merchant that we have configured into the payment module for into the acquirer setting that is periodically synchronized from the respective blockchain networks. So for ETH, it synchronizes with the ETH transactions, and it processes those transactions and tries to match it against the unpaid orders to settle it up against the received payment. And going back to yes. Okay, yeah. So, so that was it as the basic workflow of an e-commerce accepting the cryptocurrency. And I would also like to highlight few other applications apart from the financial or the virtual currency related application that can be the possibilities, or that is something personally we see uh, as in opportunities we see on utilizing the blockchain as in technology with the enterprise solutions like Odoo. Uh, so these are the few sectors where there are lots of possibilities what we see as in blockchain acceptance. So I'll end up by here with my demonstration and would love to get some feedbacks and queries related to what we are working upon and what we are trying to serve you with our technical skills. Thank you. Yeah, sure.
I have a question. It's not about payment, but about signing a contract. Let's say I have a key I want to hand to somebody, and I want to know where that key is. So I want to sign a contract. I want to use blockchains to sign the, the handing over of the key so that I know where the key is. Something like this, signing contracts with blockchain. Have you been thinking in this?
So it's somewhat, just to make it more generic, it's kind of acquiring the cryptographic signatures onto the documents. And we'll be working with the Odoo documents. That's one of the other module to provide the or to acquire the multi-party. It already supports the multi-party signatures onto the documents. That's one of the feature of a previous feature of Odoo documents. So we have been also working for uh, it currently accepts the signature with drawing onto the documents, and we are working for signature with cryptographic private keys on that part. So in that way, uh, say for example, there is a PDF document drafted into Odoo documents, and it needs to be signed by uh, one or two party for so the uh, the checksum of the content of the document would be cryptographically signed by each of the parties uh, with their private keys, and that will be stored onto the blockchain network, and the transactional information of that storage would again be recorded onto the Odoo in the backend. So if somebody in the future wants to query that whether this document was, uh, it hasn't been manipulated either from backend or front end anywhere. So it has to match the checksum of that document onto the blockchain. So that is something which by which we can achieve that kind of locking. And yes, of course, storage of the digital documents onto the blockchain is also emerging, but it's something still in a little beta phase. Talking specific to Ethereum as in blockchain network, it allows the storage of document, but it has to be transacted in form of the normal transaction that we do. But still, it is not widely used because of the public nature of the Ethereum blockchain. But yes, uh,
But when I sign a document, I
uh,
could sign that I do not need to have the document in the blockchain packed into the blockchain. I just have to kind of sign it as it's signed now. I don't really know how to do it, but I just wonder how this could be done using
As I said, it has to be done in a way like the uh, the application interface needs to compute the checksum. When I say checksum, it's a generic word. To be specific, we can say SHA-256 or MD5 of any digital document that needs to be signed using the private key of, of any users which are already on board onto such information system. I use the word information system for Odoo because it has the variety and numerous application possible using Odoo with little or more customizations and that's why I'm using the information system word for Odoo instead of just an ERP. So I was trying to say that using the private key, as I've done using the wallet, the user can sign that checksum and store it onto the any public blockchain network, and that storage can be stamped against the unique timestamp that this document has been signed in this particular Unix timestamp, and that can be used as a reference for reevaluating that checksum in the future if required to prove that the content of that document hasn't been modified over the time. So does that answer your question? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, yes, basically it varies. The time you are referring varies among the different cryptocurrencies. It started in 2007 with the main Bitcoin network, and the mechanism of locking over the ledger being utilized by the core Bitcoin network was the proof of work where it requires a lot of energy consumed in form of mining. Yeah, and that mechanism itself uh, uh, was taking the 15 minutes or whatever an average time for the transaction convergence. And going further, the Ethereum network that I currently use onto the mainnet, it converges on an average about 1 minute. Yeah, the payment transactions. And the one more thing that I can highlight is uh, the platform gas value. If you are passing more transaction amount or the transaction fee, then the transaction gets uh, faster. So that's one of the thing. And I'm running out of time for my allowed time slot, so I'll end up with my presentation over here. But you can always connect to me and ask me or send your queries over my email address over here, and yeah, you can always visit it. Thank you. Thank you for your time.